Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Stone Thug. Stone Thug, spelled with one word or two. Um, what we gonna talk about today, boys and girls? I think I want to address black folks in this video. So, if you're something other than black, beautiful, beautiful black, then I'm not saying you got to sit this one out. Just understand that this particular message is for black folks. Not just necessarily black men, but black women as well. Black children. And every now and then we have to leave a message for our own. And if you hadn't noticed, some of you may not have noticed, but I am a black male. Beautiful black. Wonderful. Luscious. Black. James Brown said black is beautiful. And I must say, I'm glad I didn't come along in the 50s, because I might not have thought so. It's a lot of propaganda. I know Hitler had his Goebbels, but we had a whole lot of Goebbels over here in terms of propaganda. Anyway, I hope somebody else gets that call. But I want to finish my thought. Black. Shit. Well, see, I made a phone call in the midst of this recording. Or should I say I received one. I've never done that before. It's going to be interesting to see the playback. But anyway, as I was saying, we had many Goebbels. Goebbels was the minister of propaganda in Germany during the reign of Adolf Hitler. And he was very effective in communicating through the media about the ills of the Jewish race of people, or their race or group or whatever. I don't think you can call them a race because they come in all kinds of colors. So, a group of people called Jewish people. And he basically said all kinds of hideous and terrible things about Jewish people. And he would belittle them, demoralize them, tell them they were nothing. Broke them down mentally, psychologically, discredit them, to so much to the point Goebbels was so effective with his psychological breakdown mentally of the Jewish culture over in Germany that they said, according to numbers, that 20% of Hitler's army were Jewish people. That's a big number. But it makes sense. You're trying to survive. You know, hopefully they didn't have to do anything too drastic to stay in the army. But they had to pass to act like they were German and not confess they were Jewish. That's how rough it was. That's how terrible things were. And Goebbels, staying on that theme for a minute, was so effective with his propaganda campaign that even the children of Jewish people who were being terrorized by Hitler, some of them, and it's been recorded, that some of them used to praise and jump up and down when Hitler came up and down the street like a rock and roll star. It's true. Because just like Patty Hearst and her captors, and she became, I guess, psychologically involved with the group that captured her, because because it mentally, she felt she was part of that group. As they kidnapped her, she started to relate to them. I guess many in the Jewish culture, because of Goebbels' propaganda and because of the class warfare that was going on in Germany, the country at the time, they felt they had to get on board, or get out, or get killed. So propaganda is a powerful, powerful medium. It's a powerful tool that's used to demoralize people. And I must say, bringing Goebbels up, in the timeline that Goebbels lived, there was a lot of that going on in the United States of America, where they wasn't, killing black folks in mass numbers like they were doing the Jews at that time. Oh, surely they were killing them left and right, but not by the thousands at a time. But the propaganda was pretty much the same. So much so that a guy back in early American time by the name of Willie Lynch put together a letter, an instructional manual of how to divide and conquer people. And I'm sure some of those tactics was actually implemented or used with the Jewish culture, Jewish people. Because the Willie Lynch psychological approach to handling people was something that was scientific in its brutal separation of one's own individual bonds that groups form. So it was a very effective tool that was used to break down the slaves doing the slave trade. So that most certainly was in the history books, and Goebbels could have implemented some of those things during the SS occupation of the country. I don't know, I haven't read anything about it, but the psychological footprint is there. And propaganda was used very much so in the black culture at the same time, during the 30s and the 40s, during World War II, where black people couldn't go here and couldn't do this and couldn't date these people and couldn't go into certain restaurants and had to sit in certain places. Like, it was just horrible. It was a systematic societal Goebbels type of structure, where the actual government itself, the media, everything worked in cahoots to break down the intellectual bonding of the black culture. And if it was not for a merciful, great, grand, as you call him, spaghetti monster, and we call him the Lord Jesus Christ, God, if it was not for a caring and loving God who had formed thousands of years ago houses of worship where people can come together and discuss their problems and troubles, I really think that the black folks, the black culture, would have had a much more difficult time. Of course, I think everybody would have had a more difficult time because the church served in a capacity to, I guess, water down the anxieties of black folks as a whole. So I really think the country would have been a mass civil war, much more fierce than the little 4-year civil war, 6-year, 4 to 6-year civil war that was fought during Lincoln days, the Lincoln time. But that is the legacy of the black church, is that it helped to keep black folks, some would say keep them down. if you are not a believer in God. But I don't think war on a national level is ever a good idea, and be fighting and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad things worked out. I'm not necessarily glad things worked out as they have, or, but I'm glad that eventually we've gotten to the place where we are now. Now, I'm talking about a lot of stuff, and I really didn't come here to talk about all that today. Goebbels and the United States of America, the early propaganda of keeping people in check, in place, and down, foot on their neck. Maybe a foundation is good sometimes to make a point. My point today is that black people, and I said this video in the beginning was for black people, I'm addressing them, have a tendency to think small, tiny, itsy bitsy. Not that they're small-minded people. I'm black and I'm thinking big. But they tend to be comfortable, I believe, too much so, and I'm talking to black folks, in not seeing the stars and going for the moon and soaring beyond. Now, I don't believe that anything's necessarily wrong with that. I think that God has blessed us to be in this world, wherever we may be in this world, America or some other place, to basically live and let live and be happy and prosper, and to love and be loved, and to enjoy the setting of the sun and the rising of the sun, the sparkle and stars, the laughter of children, the beauty that is in the world, the taste in chocolate, the feeling you get, warm feeling when a beautiful woman walks by, if you're a guy. Some girls like that too. But I think that when you reminisce and hear an old song you like, or a new song, I think that life is to be lived. And I think for too many people, cultures and races, they're too preoccupied on things that are huge, big, humongous. They're just out there. And that's not good. So what are you saying, Stone Thug? I mean, you say black people think small, and you say thinking small is okay if you think simple and small in terms of simplicity and just living, but yet you turn around and make the same statement about, before you can get the words out your mouth, that some people think too big, and that's not good. So what is it? What are you saying? I guess I'm saying we have to reach a happy medium. That black people, for many reasons, and I'm talking to black folks, are some of the greatest people on the planet Earth. But we have to think out of the box a little bit more. Sometimes our bubbles or boxes can be kind of small. And I don't know. For me, it may be, not traveling as much, maybe. For you, it may be not dating somebody that doesn't make $1 million a year. I mean, I don't know. But we have to pursue the things of this world that are higher up, that are above, that and you guys who I'm talking to, where the shoe fits, you kind of get a glimpse of what I'm trying to say, awkwardly, terribly. But the point where I'm going is that we need to try to strive for higher heights and deeper depths. I think faith for many people has been discouraged. I think a lot of people, with the election of the president, we got a bump. we saw a shelf, a level that, okay, you know, that guy thinks a certain way. But I think all too often, not enough black people, not necessarily for higher office, but they don't necessarily think big enough. And I'm not saying be like other people and think so big that it costs the price that's being paid is more than should be paid. Because some people think gain at any cost is a good thing. And that's a horrible, terrible, ungodly thing. And that's really what's wrong with the world overall, is that some people think they have to have everything, have to have it all, and they have to have it now. You don't need to think like that. You don't need to think on that level. But you should think, or we should think, where we should have more, could have more. We got the happiness part down. You know, I'm happy here. I'm happy with that. The content part, we excel in. And the Bible says in all things be content. So we're pretty content with what we have, our stations in life and things of that order. But there's nothing wrong with thinking a little bigger or higher heights and deeper depths. There's nothing wrong with it. And if we get a couple of hits, like we pass 40 or we work the same job for a few years or have a couple of babies, we think pretty much, okay, well, we're done. I won't be that star this or that star that. But that's wrong, and that's bad. We have to remember that, yes, maybe we can't probably play basketball with NBA players, or maybe we can't join the circus and run away and, do that, or maybe we can't take a backpack and travel the world. We have 4 kids and a wife at home. But there are many things that we can do. And I think that we should think bigger. We should think outside of the box. We should think outside of ourselves. We should think outside of our culture or our background, or even larger in thoughts even than our parents thought. We should strive to expand our bubbles a little bit more. And I guess that's the point I wanted to make. And I started off talking about Goebbels, the minister of propaganda in Germany. And I guess I can expand this past, even black folks a little bit. Whoever you are, maybe you're a little Jewish kid, and you may feel, well, as a culture, you guys are coming up pretty good. Maybe even your family got a little bit of money. But you're not so comfortable with trying to take over everything or have everything, and it leaves you empty, because maybe in your world you don't have a problem with thinking big, but you feel an emptiness inside. Well, in your situation, maybe just helping someone or reaching out, maybe that's your way of fulfilling that gap that may be in your heart. So if you're someone that have a lot of money or have a lot of time on your hand, maybe thinking outside the box or thinking bigger or expanding for you might not be financially. It might not be a better job. It might not be a higher office or a bigger paycheck. Maybe for you, it may be you just getting to know your neighbors. Maybe meeting or hanging out or meeting and having a buddy from a different place, a different neighborhood or something like that. Maybe meet a black guy or a black girl or Asian girl or a Jewish boy or whatever. Maybe that's your way of expanding your circle. So whoever you are and whatever you do, whatever you think you can improve on, whatever next level might be up for you, the expansion of who you are with this little tiny time we have in this world, maybe you should go up one more rung on the ladder, maybe one more step higher. Maybe this message wasn't so much for Black folks after all. So, if it benefited you, that's a good thing. And I'm glad. Maybe I told it very awkwardly. It was on the spur of the moment. I felt inspired. And I hope I inspired you. This your boy Stone Thug. Thank you for your time. Remember to get a signed CD. All you need to do is just look down below. And you'll get our address. And I'll sign it for you. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. And peace. God bless. And so...